It's time for the Nebraska Women's Basketball Coaches Show.
Out on the left wing, Callan Hink will tee up a three. You betcha! She's on fire. Rip Pritz, deep three on the left wing. It's going to be offline. Hargrove, the rebound back up. And it counts. And a foul. How about that freshman from Illinois? Markowski out high. Flips the ball to Nisley, deep right side. Going to drive the baseline, delivers deep left corner. Pritz's three. You betcha! Off the assist from Logan Nisley. Nisley, screen and roll. Caught by Kendall Coley. Left low block. Atop Nisley. Ball fake, high ball fake, flips it up and in. What a nice move by Logan Nisley.
Here's your host, Matt Coatney.
Welcome in, and this is Sports Nightly for football signing day. But we're going to start it off with Husker women's basketball. This is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour. Coach Amy Williams is with me. I'm Matt Coatney, and I'm filling in for Jessica Coody tonight, who did an unbelievable job on our signing day coverage. Hopefully you had a chance to see it. And if you didn't, it's archived. You can go to YouTube, the Nebraska Huskers channel, and check all that out. We'll take your calls and your text at 402-413-2400 for the full hour with Coach, 402-413-2400. And even though I'm filling in, it feels like I've been doing this a while. Amy, it is so good to see you. It's been a year since we've had you on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour. It's been an eventful season so far, hasn't it?
It has been eventful, no doubt about it. So,
well, let's see. Your team is 7-1. You defeated Lindenwood last night, 69-48. And Big Ten play opens kinda this weekend. You have one game, Minnesota here at PBA at 1 o'clock Central, and then you go back to non-conference play for a while until the end of the month. It's been eventful. You've had some really good wins. You had the neutral site game against South Dakota at the Sanford Pentagon, in which you hit 23s, and you were nice enough to do that while I couldn't be there for the first time in 10 years. And Nate Rohr got to call that game. Nate owes me dinner. Anyway, 8 games into the season, what's the biggest surprise about your team? I'm not talking about injuries here. But if I said to you back in September, what would surprise you about your team if you talk to September, Amy Williams, where you are in early December?
yeah, I mean, I think some of the surprises, we knew we had some pretty good depth with this roster, but just seeing the number of different starting lineups and different rotations and different leading scorers in different games so far, just 8 games in, it's a little unique. Usually we kind of have by now settled into a pretty solid lineup and rotations and things, but this year it's just presented a lot of opportunity to have different players kind of step up in different games and different situations, and that's just provided us it's a little unique compared to normal.
402-413-2400 if you'd like to visit with Coach Williams. That's our text number. It's also our audio hotline if you'd like to dial in here tonight. Huskers defeated Lindenwood last night 69-48. I was disappointed for Natalie Potts because I think she would have enjoyed playing in that game because Lindenwood is from right outside St. Louis. She had her high school teammate, Brooke Coffey, who I found out from Nat's family that the night that Brooke Coffey got her 1,000th career high school points, the night Natalie got her 2,000th career high school rebound. And they'd been playing together since 3rd grade. After the game, there was a lot of intermixing with the Potts family and a lot of the Lindenwood people. Obviously, the season-ending injury to Natalie Potts, biggest story so far early on. How's she doing? Fans ask me this literally every day. How is Natalie Potts doing? So how is she handling the injury and her mental attitude and really everything?
Yeah, to be honest, I've just been really proud of her with the way she's handled it, and it's really tough news, but she's kept her spirits up. She's been really upbeat. She's thrown herself into just being the number one supporter of all of her teammates, and just she's been in our office every day. She's just continuing to really just kind of throw herself into this team, and that's to me the best thing you can do when you're facing what she's facing, and just stay connected, find ways to stay connected with your teammates, with your coaches, and really allow people to kind of wrap their arms around you and help support you through a pretty challenging circumstance.
I've seen a lot of players get hurt. It's terrible, but they're all different the way they react to them. And I can't criticize the way anyone has ever reacted to an injury because that's specific to yourself. But I would echo everything you've said because I look out last night. Natalie Potts is standing out there on a crutch at the top of the key, and she's clapping, and she's got a big smile on her face. And I made eye contact with her, and she gave me a big wave. And her family is there supporting her. And I'm just really impressed with what she's done. I've told her I've seen players' games change significantly for the better if they miss a year due to injury. And I've specifically told her about Kelsey Griffin and Danielle Page. One ended up being the runner-up for National Player of the Year their senior year, and the other one has an Olympic medal.
Yeah.
And they both will tell you if they had not missed the year, they wouldn't have become the player they did. So from a team standpoint, can you really just say, okay, Natalie's not in the lineup, and so we plug in player B or player C or player D? Or do you look at it and say, well, we're going to have to try and play somewhat differently because Natalie is such a unique player with her length, the way that she's at the front of your pressure defense, the way she can guard really 1 through 5 at times. So do you just say you're going to play this role, or have you tried to play differently, or is it kind of a mixture of those things?
Yeah, it's really going to be kind of a mixture. We're still trying to figure all of that out, Matt. And I think, at the point where Natalie went down, she was leading our team in scoring and rebounding and deflections and, quite a few little statistical categories. And so what she has meant to our team since she's been in a Husker uniform, it's really kind of hard to put into words. So that's not something that you just, figure out, okay, let's just plug in the next guy, and so it's going to take, we knew immediately that it would take a team effort from our entire team finding ways to raise their play and bring something to the table to make up for her absence on the court with us. And we're still finding our way with that, but there's several adjustments and tweaks that we're having to make, and just finding people that can come in and bring their strengths to the table and to be able to complement the rest of our team.
This is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. I'm Matt Coatney. That's the coach, Amy Williams. If you'd like to interact with the show, our number is 402-413-2400. You can call or text like Art in Los Angeles has done. Art always texts into the show, doesn't he?
Yes, great to hear from Art.
He says, hi, Matt. The other day on my birthday, happy birthday, Art, I got my tickets to the UCLA game here on the 29th. I'm so excited to go see my all-time favorite team. Please ask Amy if it is possible for me to say hi before the game.
I hope he does. So
yeah.
I can't wait to be able to just see him in person out there, and just looking forward to that opportunity. So.
5 days in Los Angeles? Is that what we're doing?
That's it.
With this
5 days.
With this Big Ten schedule?
Yeah.
A couple of layup games, the number 1 team in the country and the number 6 team in the country, and the preseason Big Ten Player of the Year. So, are you even going to scout those games?
I mean, just
goodness gracious.
Yeah.
I've been on some road trips before, but whoa.
Welcome to the Big Ten.
Yeah,
So.
tell me about the Big Ten this year. When people ask me about this league, I say I can't describe it because no one's ever went through this before. I told somebody today, I said, in 2010, Nebraska got a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, went undefeated in the regular season, and did not make the Final Four. And 2 teams in the Big 12 who didn't win the league made the Final Four. That's the toughest top to bottom I've ever seen. This year is like that times 2. Yeah. I've told people you could finish 8th in the Big Ten and have a legitimate shot at the Sweet 16. Am I off here on any of these assessments?
I don't think you're off, Matt, and I think that's really early. It's kind of shown in the fact that currently 9 teams in the top 25 are in the rankings for the top 25 from our league, with 2 others just right outside of that top 25 receiving votes. And I just think that's pretty telltale of what we're going to see. You take the Big Ten and the Pac-12, which over the last few years have been two of the most dominant leagues in women's basketball, and then you bring four of the best teams from the Pac-12 right into the Big Ten, and it's going to be every night a challenge, and that's what we love about being in this league is just you get to go up against, measure yourself up against the best of the best every night.
I will say, though, they added Malibu and got rid of New Jersey in terms of who they added. We still have to go to New Jersey sometimes, but every couple of years we get to go to the beach. This is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour and the Nebraska Women's Basketball Coaches Show, sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, where people don't have your money has people. In preparing for tonight, I usually write down some questions, and I think that I don't really need to prepare questions because I have been waiting to have a great conversation with you about one player, and that's Callan Hake. Mm-hmm. The player that fans talk to me the most about is her defense, is Callan Hake. It started to me right before the postseason last year. Her Big Ten tournament was unbelievable. Charge after charge. She took a charge in one of the games in the Big Ten tournament, and then they ended up calling a travel or something. It was a charge. I'm sorry. I counted it as a charge. What happened late last year and continuing into this year, which is impressive, with Callan Hake's defense, because it's noticeable. The fans notice it. I love talking about it. What happened?
Yeah. Well, Callan is and has always been kind of a scrappy player, but I think in her time with us so far at Nebraska, she's been the lifter of the year, which shows the commitment level that she's made in the weight room to getting stronger and just being able to move laterally better and just having more control over her movements and body. And I think that has had a major impact on things. As well as the confidence that comes when you spend time in the weight room. I think that's a big thing. But last year, her and Jazz Shelley really kind of buddied up and spent just a ton of time in the offices watching film, breaking down film, becoming students of the game, and really just, I think Callan's IQ just really took off, and just her ability to anticipate, to kind of understand what teams are looking for, trying to do, and that anticipation is putting her in the right positions at the right moments. And so I think we've seen those things come together and just collide to make somebody that's finding ways to spark us on the defensive side of the ball, as well as pushing pace for us on offense.
I remember talking to Jazz, and she credits Sabrina Ionescu early in her career for kind of showing her a path to how to be a better leader, a better player, what passes to look at. It sounds like Jazz is still having an impact on your program, even though she's graduated and moved on to professional ball. I see that in Callan, not only on her play on the floor, but just in leadership. They all come in. I call everybody their first year a 13th grader, as you know. And she stopped being a 13th grader a long time ago. She is, whether she is an elected leader or you say she's this, the people who demonstrate leadership without saying a word are the people who impress me. Mm-hmm. Is that fair to say she's become that kind of leader on your team?
She most definitely has, and she was voted by her teammates to be a team captain for our team this year, but, she's president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. I mean, really actively involved in the Strength Finders program within our School of Business. Almost every area that she attacks, she finds ways to rise up and be a leader, and just our team is really benefiting from that right now, and the leadership that she's showing. And I'm just incredibly proud of the growth that she's made in the time. I mean, she came to us just with a really, really solid background and stuff, but she just continues to grow and improve, and I'm really proud of her.
That's Amy Williams. I'm Matt Coatney, and this is the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. The phone number is 402-413-2400. You can call or you can text, like Brad from Beatrice, who has been a longtime fan of Husker women's basketball. He says, Coach, I have enjoyed the season so far. Loved your diplomacy talking about the first half play last night. Keep up the great work and provide what the team needs to maintain the Nebraska standard. The depth sure beats 6 scholarship players in year one. Go Big Red. After Paul Sandiford left, you're one of your 2 coaches when you played here. The next year, the Huskers had 3 walk-ons and 6 scholarship players. So Brad remembers that from 23 years ago. Your depth. I brag about Nebraska's depth all the time because you can look at a roster and people have 14, 15 names on there. Your players play. Amaya Hargrove comes in the game. She contributes. It's hard for me to say who is number 6, who's number 10, who's number – because they all play, they all contribute. You look at Kendall Coley hitting a bunch of threes against South Dakota. You look at Bertie Rimdahl coming through as a transfer and being an immediate contributor. You see Petra Bojan, who stumbled onto campus yesterday, it seems like. And she's out there getting a boatload of points. You like having depth. I know you always have. How do you feel about the depth about your team this year?
Yeah, I mean, I feel really excited about the depth. And, sometimes early in the season, it makes things, you're working together a lot of different combinations. But by the time, you get into January and February where you really need to lean on that depth and, it pays off being able to give some valuable experience to everybody that is worthy. And I think right now we do have a lot of players that are bringing something to the table that can contribute in some way. And now we're just trying to sharpen up the consistency in which they're finding ways to contribute. Every game, somebody else has seemed to step up. There's games where I really felt like, Callan sparked us and was kind of the workhorse. And then, obviously Lex, is still providing double-doubles, even though so far she's seen lots of double and triple teams and career-high assist numbers, just, passing the ball out of those double teams. And last night I thought Petra gave us a huge spark and kept us in the ballgame when we were really struggling. And there's been times where I think Bertie Rimdahl has been the best player on the floor for us. And, it just can go down the line and the contributions from everybody have been making a difference.
That's Amy Williams. I'm Matt Coatney, and let me tell you about Dorothy Lynch. Dorothy Lynch home style and light and lean dressing. Endless flavor abilities. Our text line is open at 402-413-2400. We'll take calls on that also. I've got a text from Wes and Howells. We'll get to you after the break, and we'll have your text and more of your calls when we return with Amy Williams on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Coaches Show in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Tom Osborne, former football coach and co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program.
And I'm Des Moines Adams, Husker Black Shirt and CEO of Teammates Mentoring.
We're recruiting Teammates mentors and need caring adults to be in the lives of our students.
Meeting with a student once a week at the school can make a positive impact in their life and have a ripple effect in our communities.
Please join our team.
Go to teammates.org today.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop when you want, where you want. It's the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop when you want, where you want. It's the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.
All right, friends, contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free, it's easy, and it's the law. This is a Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Show. Sitting across from me is the lovely and talented Amy Williams, and I am the old man radio voice of the Huskers, Matt Coatney, and I am just simply sitting in tonight for Jessica Coody. She'll be back for our next Husker Women's Basketball Radio Hour. We have more text coming in on our text line here, and we got a text from Wes in Howells, and he said, this is Wes in Howells. I have a two-part question. Question one, we'll start with question one. You have recruited some great basketball players, but even better human beings. That whole bench is a bunch of great human beings. Can you tell us a little bit about how you go about selecting great human beings?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I have the most amazing coaching staff in the country, and they work incredibly hard. But a big part of our evaluation process, just really early, is not just about like the most talent, but we want players that are really good basketball players and talented, but that also come with the intangibles that kind of go along with being a champion, and that's just they better play hard and work hard and have that kind of, competitive drive that we want within our program. That's one of the first things we look at when we're selecting. But, how motivated are they to be the best version of themselves? And, how are they as teammates? How are they as students? How do they approach everything? Because if you are willing to take shortcuts in certain areas of your life, you're probably going to be willing to take shortcuts for your team. And so that's something that we really try to identify in the recruiting process and find players that we feel like just fit that culture.
I'm going to echo everything Wes said because I've been on a lot of buses in my time with lots of different sports teams, not just women's basketball. And I like getting on your bus.
Yeah.
It's fun. Your players are engaged. They're interesting. And like Wes says, they're good people. His second part of his question is, can you tell me who your favorite manager is? By the way, this is Darren's dad. I asked you the same question last year. Just curious if anything has changed. Thanks for everything you have done for him. We will see you guys on Sunday. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Well, Wes, of course, my favorite manager is Darren. I mean, it's not even close, right?
Now, I'm going to say this. Through the years, and you're talking about great human beings, you have had some unbelievable team managers.
Yeah.
And great character, engaged, loyal.
Yeah.
The male practice players you have, unbelievable athletes who really challenge your team. And I think the average fan doesn't realize they have to emulate your next opponent as scout players.
Yeah.
And I continually look around going, where does Amy keep coming up with these great managers, many of which I've become lifelong friends with now long after they leave the program. So well done there.
Thank you. And I can't take the credit because, once again, Amanda Hart deserves most of the credit. She's an outstanding recruiter and has recruited some really talented male practice players for us, but also puts together that staff of managers who are really the real MVPs that kind of behind the scenes do almost everything to help make things run smoothly within our program. And so we're incredibly blessed and just grateful for all that they pour into. It's just it's a true team effort.
402-413-2400. That's the text line. That's also the voice line if you'd like to interact with Coach Amy Williams tonight on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour. I've got another text. Now, there's no name here. Now, I'm going to be that guy right now. Please give your name and really where you're from, because this is a show. We go literally around the world and across the city. We'd like to know where you're from. But somebody in the 402 area code, so I'm going to say Eastern Nebraska, said, Coach Amy, having a key player out in Natalie Potts, how does that affect team chemistry, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that that when you lose a key piece, that things get affected. And I think, chemistry-wise, this group is so tight-knit that the chemistry isn't really affected in the sense of, the way they support each other and the way they believe in each other. But it's more about just trying to figure out who can, what types of things do we need to tweak for being successful on the defensive side of the ball? What kinds of things, do we want to take advantage of to utilize the strengths of the players that are going to have to fill in Natalie's absence? And so those are things we're all still kind of working out, and it'll take us a little time to kind of figure out. But the thing I'm the most proud of is that it's not negatively affecting our chemistry in the sense of the way that those girls were all preparing to go see Natalie and to have her favorite treats and to be able to kind of support her through the hard days here, and then the way she has continued to show up for them, that tight-knit chemistry is still very much intact.
402-413-2400. And Aaron in Lincoln asked that question. Aaron, that's all right. It's my pet peeve. It's a big red reaction thing. I'm happy to read your question. We just want to know who you are. That's all right. Hey, Husker Extra is the best website and mobile app for everything Husker sports from the experts of the Omaha World Herald and Lincoln Journal-Star. Go to huskerextra.com or search your app store today. I've got a million things I want to talk to you about. Speaking of injuries, and you're talking about how people have been wondering how Natalie Potts has been dealing with it. Allison Widener has been dealing with this in the past. She's back playing this year. Is Natalie Potts you think, looked at how Allison dealt with season-ending injuries and can use that for a roadmap of how she can get back? Or are they kind of two completely different situations here, do you think?
Yeah, I think without question, that's something I've encouraged Natalie to do, is to just lean on Allison because of her experiences, but because also I think Allison has just handled herself through that difficult time of having to be away from the sport that you love, but just so amazingly. I think the way Allison just threw herself into becoming a student of the game, really trying to raise her IQ, finding ways that she can still stay plugged in. She was leader. She was in the timeout huddles, like imparting knowledge. I'll never forget when we were at the NCAA tournament last year. She was down in the hallway, and while we were waiting for the game in front of us to complete, she's got a sheet and she's quizzing all of our kids on play calls for the other team and what this is and that, and she, she knew them by the back of her hand. And I think just the way that she stayed fully engaged, even knowing that she would not be participating that season, what an outstanding model that would be for a player like Natalie to be able to kind of lean into and learn from. And I know Allison and Kennedy both have some experiences that they can help with Natalie, and they all are at different points in their journeys. And so we would prefer that there's nobody else that's in that club, but just the fact that they have some people that have been through what they're going through to lean on is a pretty good thing, I think.
Now, usually when I go to the phones, our call screener has listed who has called and where they're from, and I want to make sure I have this right. So I'm not going to say who this is. I'm just going to say it's in Lincoln. And whoever is on the line, can you identify yourself? You're up on the Amy Williams Coaches Show. Who is this?
Hi, Matt. It's Natalie Potts.
Oh, my goodness. Gracious.
I'm here, too.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Natalie, we are so happy you called in. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. There's some pain, but I got the good stuff in me right now.
Well, Natalie announced on social media about 30 minutes ago that she had successful surgery. So let me ask you this. How many people are in the room there? I think I heard conservatively about 906. How far off am I on that estimation?
There's about 10 of us.
Woo!
Oh, my goodness gracious. The number of people who ask me daily about how are you dealing with the injury, what's your attitude? We were just talking about on the show, I don't know if you heard, I was bringing up, I saw you out at the top of the key last night during warm-ups. You saw me, you made eye contact, you waved at me. You seem like you've always got a smile on your face. So for Husker fans, just tell them, how are you doing? And, how are you feeling about things?
I've been doing really good. I've been in a really good headspace with everything, and the girls make it so much easier to go out there every day with a smile on my face, and I'm one day closer now to being back.
Your coach is smiling when you say that. You got to be pretty happy about that answer.
I just couldn't be more proud. I'm just, I think it's really, really easy to sink into a little bit of a despair and woe is me, but to watch the way she's just really leaned into her teammates and the way that they've supported her is pretty special. I think it makes all of the work that these guys do to really connect with each other. I mean, they're going on sister dates. They're prioritizing time with each other, and it makes it all worth it.
Nat, I got to tell you, last night, one of the most impressive things I ever saw was you have two teams who play, Nebraska and Lindenwood, and then after the game, you've got a lot of people. You obviously know a lot of people off Lindenwood with Brooke Coffey, your former high school teammate, and Lindenwood being in St. Charles. But I was impressed just how many people have followed your career there. It says a lot about you. It says a lot about your family. And you've got a great family, by the way. It does not surprise me how many people you have in that room. I'm sure you were disappointed you didn't get to play last night, but what was that like getting to be with a lot of people you knew after the game?
It's just a good time to see everybody, and they just, like I said before, put a smile on my face, and I love catching up with everyone. So
I have so many people have asked me to have you on the air, and so here we go here. I don't know. Have you ever thought about a future in broadcasting? Because I'm going to get worried because I like my job, but
can't say I have. I won't take it from you.
So what is the plan now? You put a really pretty complete message on social media, and if you look at, for example, the former Twitter X fans on the Nebraska women's basketball page, you'll see Natalie's post. So what's the next couple of days look like for you, or do you even know that?
I start rehab tomorrow, and from there we just kind of grow, get back at it.
Man, you gotta like hearing that, Amy.
I like hearing that, and that's the biggest thing we talked about today before they took her back for surgery was just today's a great day because we're that first step towards getting her back out onto the court, doing what she loves to do, what we love for her to do, and having her back with our team. And so I know, if I know one thing about Natalie, it's she will attack whatever is in front of her with the fiercest competitive spirit there is. And I don't think there'd be any challenge that we could put her way that she wouldn't find a way to overcome. And from the first time we put her through her first beep test here at Nebraska, and she stubbornly was the last one standing for many, many reps. And, just that stubbornness. And, I have no doubt in my mind that she will attack this rehab and the journey in front of her with the same, with that same mentality.
Natalie, I said this earlier in the show that I've unfortunately seen a couple of people miss a year due to injury, and a couple of them have told me that they wouldn't have become the player that they were if they had not went through a season-ending injury. One of them was Kelsey Griffin, who ended up being a runner-up to National Player of the Year, and another is Danielle Page, who's had a great career as an assistant coach in women's basketball, but has an Olympic medal hanging around her neck. And I texted that to you, and I just want to repeat to you, that's what's possible. And you are at a point of your career that's ahead of where both those people were, where you are right now. I have great confidence in you, and I love you, and I know you're going to get through this great. Do you have any last words for Husker Nation? Because I'm up against a break here.
Well, I love you guys too, and just keep coming out each and every day to support us, and I've enjoyed seeing everyone's kind words and appreciate all the prayers.
What a great phone call.
Yeah.
Amy.
Outstanding. Good to hear from you, buddy.
Good to talk with you guys. Have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, Nat. You get better. There's Natalie Potts, sophomore off the women's basketball team. I'm up against the break, 402-413-2400. We'll have more of your texts and calls when we return with Amy Williams in a few moments.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun.
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat Modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 1.9 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard, until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Last season was a banner year for the Huskers, winning 5 Big Ten titles. Nebraska also finished in the top 25 in the Directors' Cup standings. Beardmore Subaru congratulates Husker Athletics and Nebraska student athletes for all their achievements and stands behind you again this season. Go Big Red! Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue has the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester, the same trusted SUV it's always been, only more so. Love begins with trust.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun!
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat Modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 1.9 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm happy Jessica Coody asked me to fill in for her tonight on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour. I wouldn't have been able to get that phone call from Natalie Potts. That was one of the greatest moments in the history of the 25 years I've been involved with this show. 402-413-2400 is the number if you'd like to be on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Radio Hour. We got a lot of text up here. Doug in Norfolk says, did Potts' injury occur early enough in the year to get her sophomore year back?
Yeah, we feel really strongly in that will be the case. It's 30% of the season, and so typically anything that's 9 games or under, you're in pretty good shape to secure a medical redshirt year.
Thank you, Doug, for that question. Again, Brad in Beatrice said, Brad, again, how outstanding for her to come on. Work hard, Nat. We are praying for you. You get a lot of questions on this text line tonight. You're like big text reaction here tonight. Dennis is asked, Amy, which do you like better, a trip out west for 2 games or 1 game out east And does the women's basketball team plan on wearing any throwback uniforms? You've already worn throwback uniforms once this year at the Sanford Pentagon, I believe.
We did. We actually, I think, wore the same uniforms in our Creighton game as well.
You did,
so,
yeah.
So both of our neutral site game and our road game, we wore the throwback uniforms. So that was kind of a fun thing for our players. And to the answer to the first question, the one thing about our location in the new Big Ten that's pretty cool is we once were the furthest most west team in the
San Diego of the Big Ten is what every team called the trip to Lincoln, is what they called it. Yeah.
Right, and now we're kind of just dead center. And so for us, truthfully, like a flight out to the West Coast, we do cross 2 time zones as opposed to when we're going out east and you're just crossing over to 1 time zone. But I think the 2 games on that one trip will be, I enjoy that part of it, is being able to not have to make 2 separate trips. And so that part I would probably prefer. I don't know if immediately right after Christmas going to play number 1 and number 6 or whatever it is in the country on the same road trip was in the plans, or if we would have planned it that way if we had a choice, but certainly kind of looking forward to the opportunity that trip presents.
Probably a good chance for team building, which is a nice way of me saying I hope you take your team to the beach.
Yeah.
For all the players listening, and I know at least one has been, I'm trying to get you to the beach on that trip, everybody. Doing that for you here, okay? 402-413-2400. We have our remaining time with Amy Williams coming up after the break. But Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We'll take more of your phone calls and your texts, and we return with Amy Williams in a few moments.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Next hour, we're going to talk about football signing day, and that will be amazing. And then new recruit Christian Jones will also be on in the second hour. We'll also have snippets from the Matt Rhule press conference. Matt Coatney filling in tonight for Jessica Coody on the Nebraska women's basketball show. Let's look back at more text on our text line. Question from Patty in Lincoln. My husband and I have noticed long fingernails. And last night, it looked like Alexis Markowski had a nail issue. What is the team stance on that, especially after what happened with Caitlin Clark last year. Yeah, I thought Lex lost a nail maybe somewhere in there. So Patty wants to know the team's stance on fingernails.
I don't really get too involved with trying to control that with our players. There's no rules against the fingernails, as a part of the NCAA rules, and basketball, women's basketball rules. So I kind of let the girls make their own choices. But it is a kind of a painful injury when they lose a fingernail or something happens. That's a risk that we take, and I think Lex had a little mishap with that fingernail last night, so we'll see.
402-413-2400 is the number. This is the Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center. It's sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Another question on our text line. Mark says, Coach, the depth seems to allow more defensive intensity, but he really likes Markowski screening for Prince and others and the possibilities. Mark in Omaha. Lex setting that big screen. I got to tell you what, early on, seeing your freshman from Omaha, Britt Prince, work two-man game and pick and roll with Alexis Markowski's skill set makes me salivate.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, well, Alexis just draws so much attention, People are so concerned and worried about her that anytime we can get her involved in setting good screens and people, stay glued to her, pretty hugged up to her, don't really want to move too far away from her. And so if we can get her to set, outstanding screens, it frees up some really good players. I think Britt makes really good decisions, usually off of ball screen action. And so that's something that we're excited to be able to lean into a little bit is some of that two-man game.
I was very disappointed that it looked like she got popped in the nose last night and you took her out. She was 1 point away from becoming the first Husker point guard to get 100 career points in her first 7 games. So she's at 99 right now. It's still really good for a freshman, don't you think?
Yeah, really good for a freshman. I'm excited about the future. I feel like she's just starting to kind of scratch the surface of what she's even capable of. So, I'm just really excited. We seeing some flashes. She makes a huge impact for us, and we think that's going to just continue.
In our remaining moments here, it's Minnesota to start Big Ten play, Sunday at PBA, 1 o'clock Central. Give me 50 words on Minnesota. The depth, right?
Yeah, Minnesota has got a lot of depth this year, and they are just 10-0 coming in here and just playing very, very...
Not ranked at 10-0. Think about that. Goodness.
10-0 and just really confident team that has a lot of contributions from a lot of different players. I think all but 4 players on their roster from the state of Minnesota, a lot of kids that just are proud to be at home and representing that program. And they're really going to be a tough foe.
Jeff Grace joins me at 12:30 p.m. Central on Sunday afternoon. It's a big weekend with the NCAA tournament at the Devaney Center for Husker volleyball. Husker men are on the road at Michigan State to start Big Ten play. I love it, but let's get it done. Amy, this has been so much fun. Thanks to Natalie Potts for calling in.
Yeah.
And I will see you on Sunday afternoon.
See you Sunday.
Thanks to everybody for all your texts and your calls. Hour 2, we're going to talk football signing day. We'll have snippets of the Matt Rhule presser today, and we'll also have a visit with Christian Jones, one of the Huskers signees. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly comes your way after the break.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, aka fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Good evening, I'm Duke Root, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Today is National Signing Day for the Nebraska football team. All 20 of the Huskers commits signed their letter of intent today. The Huskers were also able to flip 4-star wide receiver Cortez Mills, who was previously committed to Oklahoma. In other football news, Matt Rhule announced the hiring of new wide receivers coach Dakel Shorts Jr. Shorts was the wide receiver coach at Kentucky last season after coaching under new offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen at Houston for 3 seasons prior. Shorts also played under Holgorsen at West Virginia. Today, the Big Ten announced the all-conference volleyball teams. Lexi Rodriguez, Bergen Riley, Merritt Beeson, Andy Jackson, and Harper Murray were all named to the All-Big Ten First Team. In addition, Lexi Rodriguez was named Big Ten Libero of the Year for the 3rd time in her career, and Bergen Riley was named Big Ten Setter of the Year for the 2nd year in a row. Huge slate in top 25 men's college basketball tonight, including number 15 Baylor at number 25 UConn, number 20 North Carolina hosting number 10 Alabama, number 5 Marquette versus number 6 Iowa State, top-ranked Kansas traveling to Creighton, number 9 Duke hosting number 2 Auburn, and USC facing number 12 Oregon. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Coming up next is Hour 2 of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Raiola under center. Turns, hands off Dowdell, plunges into the end zone, touchdown, Nebraska! What a drive for the Big Red! An exclamation point on what has been a wonderful first half here in Iowa City. 9-0, Big Red.
Leading the pass, outside, Taylor Landfair, they did it! 5 Big Ten championships, back-to-back. And they're jumping in red. Nebraska finishes 19-1 in the conference. And they shake hands in College Park, Maryland.
Here's a poke away by Hoiberg. Puts it up, got it! Huskers have a 100-burger. 101-72 on the swipe by Sam. And the take for the lay-in.
Throws for a back cut. It's picked off. Guess who? Callan Hake picked it off. Huskers running, moving left to right. 3 in transition for Hake. You betcha. Strip, steal, score for Callan Hake.
Now, here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome. Happy signing day to everybody. You heard Duke and the Tickers mention Nebraska football added 12 new members to this football team today. I think if you had to pick one group that you really get excited about out of this class, to me, it'd be the linebacking core. You get Merritt from Kansas City. You get Christian Jones, who we're going to hear from later on in the hour from Omaha. To me, that's a spot. And I'll tell you what, that's a pretty good one to have in the Big Ten Conference. As much as you have to defend the run, you better be good at the linebacking spot. And I think that's a really good get. But I like the class. I think there's speed to class. The Mills flip at the last minute from Oklahoma to Nebraska tasted sweet, did it not? And then Jeremiah Jones, who Nebraska thought last night was going to go to Missouri, ended up staying with his commit to the Cornhuskers. He's a really, really good athlete. And that was a good kind of finish, kind of a dessert for the class today. We have a lot to react to and a lot to hear from. Jessica will join the program later by some things she did earlier today. She was up early, so you got me solo tonight. But we're going to play back her interview along with Damon with Coach Rhule from earlier today on the live coverage that went out on our YouTube stream from 7 to 11. And she'll also sit down with Christian Jones, the linebacker from Omaha West Side, who made it official earlier today, became part of this 20-member class. I think you got to be happy with it. I mean, a lot of this thing was put to bed over the summer. A lot of these guys committed in that June window that we talk about how critical that is. But some other business is certainly going on with Husker football besides recruiting. Today was the first time we heard from Coach Rhule to comment about the changes on the staff and with both coordinators. News on the positive side for Dana Holgorsen and not so good news on Tony White. Here is Coach Rhule from his presser earlier today.
Obviously, staff-wise, we have some things going on right now. Tony White, I can't thank him enough for his 2 years. I thought he did a good job. Tony came to me on Sunday and just said, hey, for some family reasons, wanted to get his family back home to Florida. Obviously I was disappointed. I liked coaching with Tony. I liked being around him. I thought he had a great affect. But, he's got to go do what he's got to do. And as I told the team, I've had 2 defensive coordinators in 12 years as a head coach. Both guys, while they were with me, were Broyles Award finalists. The next defensive coordinator will be a great defensive coordinator. We will play defense. I was ecstatic when, Dana decided to stick around. He decided that he saw enough here in his time here to know that over the course of 4 weeks that we can get this thing offensively to where we want to get it to. And so we'll find the right defensive coordinator. I know there's a lot of angst from our guys right now about, hey, what's it going to be? The defense isn't going to change, but the offense is going to be better. And we have some assistant coaches. People have asked me about Terrence and Garrett. They're both with us. They both have some opportunities, and that's this time of year. And whereas a lot of staffs hide it, I've told every recruit, hey, this is out there, and this could happen because I don't want to lie to kids. I'm not going to lie to players. So in the coming days, we'll see, where they end up. If it's here, great. But I'll be straight up with you. I think that some of those guys they might take some other opportunities. And when you're a coach and you have a bunch of players coaching for former players of yours coaching for you, to me there comes a time when for them it's time for them to kind of go spread their wings. They played for me. They want to go coach somewhere else and be under someone else's guidance. And when I see Syracuse, I see Fran Brown, the head coach. He had the same conversation with me at some point. So I'm grateful for them if they're here, not here. We've hired Coach Shorts to come in and coach the receivers even before this. The initial plan was to have both he and Garrett there. Dana's offense, they've always kind of had an inside and outside receivers coach. It was Dana's only request. After 4 weeks, he said, Matt, I love the entire staff. I like working with Glenn. I like working with Sad. I like working with Donnie. I like working with EJ. But I do want to bring in my guy that I trust and believe in. He's one of the best recruiters. Great coach who kind of knows our system. So we made that, and then we'll see what happens as a result.
Okay, a lot in there. He does confirm Dukel Shorts, the new wide receivers coach, are one of them, because he alluded to that maybe Garrett stays on and coaches the inside wide receivers, Dukel the outside, or vice versa, one way that it would work there. But Dukel leaves Kentucky and now will be a Cornhusker full-time assistant coach. This press conference was at 1 o'clock, and these statements were made shortly after it began when he made the comment about Terrence Knight. And Terrence, since that time, has gone on social media and basically said goodbye to Nebraska. So I think Terrence Knighton is leaving. I think he's going to Florida State. I think he's following Tony White down to the Seminoles to be on that staff. They have not made that official from their end. That's just the way I perceive that. All right. Also, it was mentioned that John Butler will be the defensive coordinator for the bowl game coming up later this month, which we don't have official count on where that is and who that's going to be against. But he did say that John would be the DC for the bowl game and also wants to be the permanent defensive coordinator. So is there a timeline the coach wants to follow to get a new guy hired?
Despite all the angst, because I get the angst, right? Like I get I don't ever want to make a bad decision. I think sometimes when we rush, we make bad decisions. And so even yesterday, I was able to go out to practice and, we put the ball down and we're competing and John's calling the defenses and I can kind of get a rhythm for how he does it and all that. So I feel really comfortable with him. I feel really comfortable with some other coaches. I can't tell you the amount of people who are interested in the job. I mean, I'm talking about sitting current Power 5 coordinators. I think what's important to me is I like the way we play defense. I like this defense. I like these fronts. I like the multiplicity of what we did. We did some different things against Iowa that I thought were great. And so I don't want to switch to something different. I want to do this defense. And so whoever that is, I don't want to make that decision for a short term, we all feel good about it. I don't want to make a splashy hire. I mean, if we'll all remember when I hired Tony in the 3-3-5, my phone didn't stop blowing up. How's the 3-3-5 ever going to work? And people were panicked, and I think it's worked out pretty good. So I have no timetable other than just to get it right. Just to make it right.
All right, changing gears a lot at the head coach's desk right now. You're trying to get a roster from about 150, which is what it was this year, down to 105. That has been mandated by the NCAA starting next year. So you have to eliminate 35 spots. Yes, you said goodbye to about 30 seniors. That still puts you 5 over, and now you've signed 20 guys. So now you're 25 over. So the portal, you're going to have guys leave and go to the portal. You just have to. Kai Wallen entered today, so another defensive lineman into that portal today. But we've got to keep whittling away at this thing to get it down to 105. That's just kind of the new normal for being a head football coach at this level. And now you get the portal, which opens up next week. The coach was asked, are you comfortable with the new normal?
Yeah, I think the way we look at it is I just completely, when we did this, I just completely flipped over back into like what we did in the NFL, where you have a 53-man roster, and you have maybe 6 wideouts, maybe you have 9 O-linemen, and these are the guys you play with, right? And so then you have like another 53-man roster that's like your developmental, so that comes out to 106 basically, and say maybe 57 and 50, whatever, you guys get 48, but you basically have 2 53-man rosters in our mind, right? And so these guys are playing, the guys who play, the resources, these other guys, they're coming, they're getting an education, they're developmental player, but the high school players that we sign, we were very blessed when we got here. There were a lot of older guys on defense. The young guys that we sign on defense, either we signed last year or that we signed this year, when they come in, we're going to hope that they play. If not, they kind of go over here. They're on the developmental group, and then in a couple of years, they'll be John Bullock. They'll be those guys. So we'll try to take a 2-pronged approach, sort of, hey, developmental guys, and then guys that are ready to play right now. And, whichever way we have to go with each kid, we'll go. And we'll be honest with them. And if they want to go through the process of turning themselves into a great player over time, then do it. If they want to kind of, hey, it's either hit or miss, then we have to do that as well.
Interesting approach, because, the NFL operates on that 53-man roster. So just look at it as 2 different 53-man rosters. Your active roster, where you play 50 to 60 guys most games. That's kind of normal. Then you have the back half, is that your scout team, guys that are trying to work their way up the depth chart. Maybe they're younger players in the program, not quite there yet. But just a lot for all these head coaches to be dealing with at this time. And college football has jammed it together. I mean, think about it. These coaches were coaching games Friday and Saturday. And then you come back 4 days later, and it's your signing day, not right before Christmas, which is where it's been. Then you got to get ready for a bowl game. The portal opens next week. You're going to want to jump in there and fill some needs. And for Nebraska, I think there's going to be some needs to look at. Wide receiver would be one. You need at least another quarterback to add in there now that Danny Kalen has entered the portal. You're going to need some defensive linemen, obviously, right? As many guys that have departed from that. So a lot of things to deal with for these coaching staffs as they make their way through a new era of college football. All right, something that became a bit of a controversy after the Iowa game the other night was the Nebraska captains did not shake hands with their Hawkeye counterparts for the coin toss of the games. The coach addressed that earlier today.
Before I move forward, I just want to say one thing about the Iowa game. And, obviously our players didn't shake hands before the game, the captains. I didn't know that even after the game. I found out about it, afterwards. And, that's not what we want to do. That's not the way to handle it. I do want to say, we showed up at the game, and really for 12 years now, we show up to an away game. We always kind of go to the 50-yard line. Some guys, will say a prayer for safety. Some guys will just break it down. We've never really had any problems. We had a problem last year at Colorado for a few minutes. We had a problem this year at USC, but for the most part, we kind of go and do it. Iowa didn't want us to do it before the game. They told us we had to go to the end zone. When we came out to walk to the end zone, there were 7 armed state troopers standing on the logo. And I think our players felt some type of way about police in pregame. And, they felt that. It wasn't maybe channeled the right way. But I do, we've got great guys. We've got great leadership. Not the right decision, not what we wanted. But I think when you watch that game, credit to both teams. Between the lines, no unsportsmanlike fouls, no trash talking, no taunting. And watching college football, even after the game, I think both teams handled themselves in a way that a lot of games didn't. So we'll grow from that. We'll learn from that. But I know a lot of people have asked me about it. I do want to make sure everyone understands kind of the whys, why our guys maybe felt that way. But again, we'll be better, and we'll make sure our guys understand that we'll always shake everyone's hand before we play them and after, regardless of the score.
All right, there's some of the highlights from Coach's press conference earlier today. A lot in there, obviously, with the staff changes, the Iowa situation, the class itself. So busy time for Husker football, and it's not going to let up. Plus, you got bowl practices going on. He talked about they had one yesterday. They're going to have one tomorrow, probably 2 again next week. Start to ratchet that up a little bit. They're not having the seniors practice right now, letting all those reps go to the younger players on the team. I think that's a good call by this staff. Folks, Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right, when we come back, we'll hear Jessica and Damon's conversation with the coach from earlier today. It was part of our live stream coverage brought to you by Woodhouse from 7 to 11 this morning. We'll replay that conversation next.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Huskers fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Husker fans, this is Coach Hoiberg thanking you for supporting our program. Your passion and presence have created one of the best home court advantages in college basketball. Additionally, thank you for supporting your Husker student athletes through contributions to 1890 Nebraska, the official NIL collective of Husker Athletics. 100% of your contributions to 1890 go to Husker athletes, positively affecting their lives in so many ways. So visit 1890nebraska.com or text NEBNIL to 801-801 today and go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyota Fun, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Well, Jessica Coody, Damon Benning anchored the coverage from earlier today, the live stream on the YouTube channel, 7 a.m. until 11. Wrapped up the show pretty much with a sit-down conversation with the head coach, Matt Rhule. Let's go back and listen in.
With Damon Benning, I'm Jessica Coody, and now joined live here by the head coach, Matt Rhule. It's been a fun day, Coach. How do you like the group that you brought on?
Oh, I'm fired up. I mean, it's a good group of guys across a variety of positions. A lot of guys that either came to our camp or national guys that we battled hard to go recruit for. So really excited that they're going to join us.
They had Cortez pulling a fast one. He's a jokester, but in all reality, how big is that one to get Cortez?
Well, his talent you can see, but I think it's also his personality, his mindset. He's infectious. He's a guy we spend a lot of time on. And as you go through this process, obviously you're recruiting great players, but you're looking for great people and guys you want in the building. And I think Cortez, he checks all those boxes, man.
It's interesting. One of the reoccurring themes that we kept talking about with all these guys is competitiveness. You are really, it seems to be focusing on highly competitive guys. I know you always want them, but it seemed intentional.
Yeah, I think in today's world, today's day and age, today's Big Ten, I've always been a guy that loves traits, loves big, fast, strong, and we're always going to continue to search for that. I think the thing that we've done is we've put that competitive streak in there. You watch the Big Ten this year, even the teams that, playing the championship game, they won games by 2 points, 3 points, You have to have guys that, man, come down the stretch and they want to make the play. They don't want the game to be a blowout. They want a chance to go show what they can do. And so whether that's individually every day at practice or, collectively in the games, finding guys with that is the same to me as guys who can run fast.
One of the first things you guys said when you got here is that you were going to lock up the state of Nebraska and another recruiting class, that you got the top recruit in this state and the top talent in this state. How excited are you about this group of homegrown Huskers?
Well, I think it's really hit me the last couple of days. We've had some tough days in terms of, having to go from 150 down to 105, and talking to a couple kids that, maybe their future isn't on the field here, and how many of them have said, like, Coach, I'm a Husker, like, I don't care what my role is. I think that, that really means something to me. I think that means something to us. I mean, and so to find guys with the talent of the guys that we've gotten, who can help us on the field, but to whom going out and representing their state means just a little bit more, I think that's important. It's what we've always wanted to do. It's what Coach Osborne told me to do when I took the job, and it makes sense. And so we're grateful that they've decided to come.
How important or cognizant are you of, like, footprints, right? I know there's obviously some places you have really good, strong connections with, like Texas and clearly here, but is footprint something that's at the forefront of what you want to do? We've seen the reemergence of Kansas City and St. Louis and places like that.
Yeah, I think we recognized pretty early on, Damon, that, like, if we want to be great, we have to do a good job in Kansas City and St. Louis. There's great football there. There's great players there. We looked at guys leaving college and going to the NFL, and how many guys are coming out of South Dakota, North Dakota State. So we've really kind of tried to isolate and look there and find guys. With us probably going to play in California every year, we've looked in California a little bit.
Yeah, more. Yeah.
And that's that's historical. And then obviously Florida and Texas have always meant a lot to us. So we'll go anywhere for any player, but I think having just a consistent book of business in those areas is important.
What was it about that St. Louis, Kansas City area? You got several of those guys down there this signing class.
Well, I think the credit has to go to, I think, Rob and EJ did a good job there for 2 years, and then, bringing in, Jamar Mosey, getting Keith Williams, an elevated role. There's just a lot of people who have connections there, and there's so many players, and we're not going to get everyone, and not everyone's not a fit for us, but finding the guys that that want to just get in the car and drive 3 hours from Kansas City, or find the guys of St. Louis who are and really all of Missouri that want to come over here. And there's a lot of, you go out there, there's a lot of Husker connections. I go to those games, and there's a lot of people that that bleed Husker, and so it's a good fit for us.
It's interesting. I have a lot of, favorite people, obviously, some closer to home, but one of my favorite stories is Parker out of St. Louis. And he's a guy that I think kind of typifies your recruiting style, where there's the Coach Williams, Coach Barthel thing. You've got a couple former guys at practice. They're like, hey, go love on this guy. You're going to love his story. He's probably my favorite story in the recruiting class, but had missed almost a full year. You guys stayed with him. There's a lot in his recruitment that I think embodies what you're about at Nebraska.
Yeah, to your point, when you think about who he is and his character, we're a tough, hardworking program, and we need guys who have grit. We need guys who can persevere. We need guys who can not only overcome but also embrace adversity. And he's been through a lot, and yet he still gets it done in the classroom. He still gets it done in the community. He still gets it done on the football field, and previously he got it done in track. So he fits the traits we want, but he's also got the mindset that we want, and I'm anxious to get him here. I think once he gets here, we're going to have a great fit.
The collective tag teaming of it too, amongst your staff. There's a reason you like to spread out and kind of have the guys that you recruit be touched by everybody on your staff, right?
Yeah, I want people when they get here to not just know one person. In today's college football, coaching staffs are going to change. There's so much money in college football now. Coaches are going to move on, staff is going to move on. And, the worst thing is you get recruited by one person, that person leaves, and you're sitting here and you have no connections. And so whether it's Corey and his staff, whether it's Kristen and her staff, whether it's Gus and his staff, whether it's, Dr. Elza and her staff, or the coaches or the recruiting staff, we want them to have a bunch of touch points when they get here so that they're connected and the families know who they can reach out to.
To that point, too, almost every recruit that I talked to, they brought up you and their relationship with you. And even Tanner Turch just said, you're the coolest guy he's ever met. Building those relationships, how important is that, too, as a head coach to actually really build those bonds with these guys that are coming in to play for you? Yeah,
at the end of the day, my role is very simple. It's to sort of set the vision of what this place stands for and what it means. And when we sometimes have people here who aren't about that, then I have to do my best to try to connect with them and help them get it, whether it's staff or player. And then eventually, if it's not right, then they move on. And so, in the recruiting process, getting to know those guys and letting them know what we want to be about, I think is really important. I think, moving forward for me with this team, I think that's the number one thing I have to do probably even a better job of, is just reminding everyone of what we stand for and who we want to be. And, sometimes you get into it, you get into the season, you start listening to everything, and it's like, this is who we are. And but I like recruiting. I like getting to know the players. I like getting to know the families. I like seeing, people at 18, 19, make a decision that can hopefully positively affect the rest of their lives. And, we believe that the guys who come here and who buy into it, their lives are going to be better.
You've done such a good job from the high school standpoint in terms of recruiting your first couple of years here, and you've been very direct about how you want to build this program. Is that, you think you're going to end up being unique? Are you finding yourself evolving because this thing is supplemented by high school guys?
Yeah. You have to remember when we first got here, there was like a one transfer rule, and so it was like, okay, well, we're going to get high school players, and then now it's unlimited transfers. And so I think the best programs, the best people, they adapt as things change. To me, there's still a greater mission. There's just still I know a lot of people don't believe it anymore. It's still an educational mission. It's still a developmental mission. And so we will always recruit high school players. I want to always have walk-ons. I always want to have guys who come here for the love of the game. But the rules change, things change, and so we have to adapt. But at the core, like, our ethos will always be, recruiting high school players. And I still think when you look at the best teams in the country, they recruit high school players, and then they supplement them with some guys in the portal. When they have a need. Sometimes it's not best for a guy to play too early. Maybe he's not ready. He needs a limited role. So we'll do the best we can with it.
So when you have these guys that you're going to bring in and develop, and this bowl prep, and I know you guys had practice yesterday, how excited are you about that, and to be able to really work with some of these younger players? Well, I think within our own roster, it's an amazing opportunity, for our guys. We're unique in that the Ty Robinsons and the Nashes, if they want to play in the bowl game. Most teams now, if they're not in the CFP, their seniors all leave and start getting ready for the draft, and it's really kind of like the first game of next year. So, we're prepping all of our young players, as if it's the first game of next year. Knowing that at some point those older guys will come back in, but we can also bring some of these mid-year signees into the bowl and have them, get acclimated to, hey, here's how we do things, here's what we believe, and here's how we practice. And they probably can't do everything, but they can do something. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's a great jump start. I can't explain what not being in a bowl game for how many years has probably done to the core foundation. Like, even just getting out there yesterday and practicing and lifting today, like, you wouldn't be allowed to have the guys lift today if you weren't in a bowl. And so that's 4 more weeks of strength training. That's 4 more weeks of speed development. That's 4 more weeks of coaching and reps. So it's important.
It's interesting listening to you kind of go through the first time in a long time, whether it's, Big Red Wrap-Up or hour shows or things like this. We're not used to scheduling things in December, right? So going through this process for the first time in a long time is refreshing, a sense of accomplishment. I'm not done yet. Like, we're doing things late in December that we're not accustomed to doing.
Well, I think it's double-headed, right? Like, we don't want to be 6-6. Right. We don't want to lose 5 games, in 2 minutes at the end of the game. But we're not going to apologize for beating a ranked CFP ranked team for the first time probably in a couple of years. We're not going to apologize for beating Wisconsin for the first time in 12. We're not going to apologize for being the first team to go to a bowl. I mean, on the way to greatness, there are these like stepping stones, and we've stepped on a couple of them this year. So we'd like to do more, and that now sets our vision for next year. Like, hey, we have to get this done. We have to get that done. We have to go undefeated at home. We have to start winning on the road more. But we're not going to sit here and not say, like, wow, we're playing in December for the first time. That's pretty hard, that hasn't happened. I mean, it happened in a lot of other schools, but it hasn't happened here. So I'm proud of the guys for that. At the same time, like, I think getting to the end of the year and, all the stuff that happens, it's been happening in other schools, like the portal, coaching changes. Obviously, we've had some things happen. Like, a lot of people are kind of freaked out, and I'm sitting here calm as could be, like, this is what's supposed to happen. Yeah. You're supposed to have good players. Other schools are supposed to come try to get your players. You're supposed to go recruit at a high level. We're gonna be just fine. And so December's been a quiet month here for a couple of years, and it won't be quiet moving forward.
Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
There's a good chunk of the conversation that Jess and Damon had with the head coach today during the live stream portion of our coverage on the YouTube channel, brought to you by Woodhouse. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. 20 young men signed the line today to be a Cornhusker. One of those was Christian Jones. We're back to hear from him next.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
In the game of life, we all face tough moments. Sometimes it feels like we're up against a formidable block with no way through. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the final set. Reach out, speak up, and let's bump, set, and spike this challenge together. Because in Nebraska, we're more than players. We're a supportive community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every serve, every pass. Go Big Red. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Nottle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Nottle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Nottle Services. These are the Nottle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, aka fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun.
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat Modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 1.9 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and the service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, welcoming you back. We're putting a bow on signing day. A couple of days ago, Jessica caught up with the player of the year in the state of Nebraska, Christian Jones, and here is that conversation.
Well, we welcome in another one of the new Huskers signing their letter of intent to officially be a part of Nebraska football, and another Nebraska kid, Christian Jones. Christian, thank you so much for being here with us. Congratulations. How does it feel to make it official?
It's good. It's definitely a lot of weight lifted off your shoulders, just knowing that you have a home chosen and you can just fully focus on that, go full steam ahead on that.
Well, Husker fans will obviously be very familiar with you, having played at Westside over the last 4 seasons. You guys had a heck of a run. I know you disappointed that you didn't get another one this year, but man, what a run. What was that like to be a part of? Just the records that you guys broke, the championships, just that program at Westside. What was that like to be a part of that?
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of winning. We did a lot of great things, but the best part of it was not that aspect. It was more so we had such great connections with everyone. I have some of my best friends now, and there's just so many good dudes that played on our teams that I think was the funnest part about being at Westside. Is just our culture is so strong that was the best part about being on those amazing teams. It was not the winning part, just being around good dudes and having fun times and just creating those memories together. That's great.
When you're part of a winning culture like that, it's always a jump and you have to make adjustments. But how do you feel like that can help you translate to college and what you bring to the Huskers?
Yeah, I mean, every day I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm gonna have that winning mindset. I don't like to lose. I think I've only lost 4 games in my high school career, and I don't think I want to lose any more games after that. So I'm going to bring that winning mindset to Lincoln, and I'm just going to bring that attitude every single day. And hopefully that my aura would, kind of rub off some other people and we just keep trending in the right direction.
Love that. Well, you're one of the top recruits in the state of Nebraska. You had a lot of different options. Take me through your recruiting process and why ultimately you felt like this would be a good fit for you.
Yeah, I mean, started freshman year. Nebraska was my first offer after my 3rd high school game, and then kind of, started from there. But my biggest thing was I'm just going to take it slow. I'm not rushing into anything because, you only play high school once. College coaches at the end of the day, they don't really care about your high school career. So I was just focusing on my high school career because I can't go to college that next day. So I was just taking it really slow and just bringing everything in with a grain of salt and just really analyzing all the information I got. And it was a hard decision between, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and some other schools because, there's a lot of great coaches out there. And, Coach Venables was very, very hard to say no to. I really respect him a lot. And ultimately, I chose Nebraska because, it was close to home, and I wanted to be a Husker. I love that. Well, Coach Dvorak, Rob Dvorak, one of those guys I know you've developed a great relationship with. What's it been like getting to know him? What is it about him you wanted to play for him? Yeah, Coach Dvorak, he's a really good coach. I probably have the best relationship with him throughout all the recruiting process. He was kind of the #1 front runner the whole time. He's just a good, genuine person. He doesn't talk down to you or talk from a coach to a player. He just talks with you. He's really personable, and I really appreciate that about him.
I know that a lot of it was the program at Westside. I know you got a lot of respect there, but, what went into you becoming the player that you became to where you were so highly recruited and you're one of the best in the state and that you had these kinds of options? How was that process for you? What was that process for you to get to where you are?
Just having, Coach Benning yell at you every single day really pushes you to the next level. I'm just kidding. No, we just have great people around you, just not letting, Coach Amanji would never let you get complacent, and complacency comes to collect, and that's kind of in the back of my head at all times, and so I just never wanted to get outworked, and I never wanted to be a bust because, freshman year had all these accolades and all this and that, and I'm in the back of my head, I'm not going to be that one dude that just, pans out his freshman, doesn't pan out and just has a good freshman year, so that was kind of my, I would say, motivator was I'm not going to, let complacency come and collect and get, lazy and this and that. So that was kind of my big thing that kind of drove me to be where I'm at today. And also, when you have the Rezaks, the Bennings, and Ryan, there's just dudes that work too. So you just want to work with them. And, we're all brothers. So you just want to work that much harder because, they're working for you too. That's awesome. You were recently named a finalist for the High School Butkus Award. How about that? How does that feel? That's a pretty big title, the Butkus. Yeah. It'd be an honor to get that prestigious award. And talked to Tom Lemming the other night, and I think they're choosing here soon. So, yeah, it'd be an honor to receive that. But, yeah, I'm very blessed to be just in that final group of 5 is a really cool. Really cool award just to have your name thrown in there. And, you know, I've always watched Dick Buckus Bears highlights when I was growing up, so it was kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome. You mentioned the Bennings. You're going to be a teammate with one, multiple West Side guys. Just how special is that when you've got guys that, like you mentioned, you've been through so much together, and then now you get to join forces here at Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to make the transition that much easier. And, you know, we're just going to keep building off of the relationships we already had. You know, all of us have that ET in our blood already, so we can kind of, you know, help other guys come with us and bring the effort and toughness with us and that flair we got.
So Coach Benning, DB, he works with us on the radio. He's our color analyst for the radio broadcast, doing the signing day show with me. He thinks the world of you. What can you say about him and him being your position coach?
I love DB a lot. You know, he's cool. We have a good relationship. You know, it was iron sharpens iron. He never let me get away with anything, which I like. And he's very knowledgeable, and I love that about him. And he's able to explain the game in a good perspective that I am able to understand. And he's really helped my football knowledge go to a very high level. And he's really, just good coach, good person. And I'm very grateful that he's my outside linebacker coach. I left him for a little bit this year. I went to middle linebacker, so we kind of had a long distance relationship a little bit, but then came back at the end.
I did not pay him to say that, by the way. You know, just what goes into these next few weeks for you? Or you're coming early, right? Yeah,
I'll be early enrolling in January. I'm not sure yet what date because they have the bowl game and stuff.
Right. Well, you know, you kind of talked about this earlier, but, you know, this is a staff. They're not afraid to play young guys. So, and I'm sure you as a competitor want to see playing time early. So what's your approach to getting in here and working on that and trying to make a name for yourself early here with this program?
Yeah, you know, I mean, first off, I'm not entitled to anything. And if I don't deserve it to play early, then I don't deserve it. But if I'm going to go down there and work as hard as I can and take what's mine and earn that spot. And I'm going to try to outwork everyone in that linebacker room, and I'm going to, you know, hopefully get rewarded for playing early. But I have a strong confidence in myself that if I really put the work in, that I can have a shot.
Congratulations again. Great to chat with you, and can't wait to see you here on campus here in a few weeks.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
There he is, Player of the Year in the state of Nebraska, Christian Jones. Linebacker is going to be a beast, I think, for Husker football. Great interview there by Jessica. Children of the Corn in the chat room goes, Greg, what hope, if any, can Husker fans take into the bowl game after what we've seen? Well, I think a lot. I have not heard of any of the 30 seniors that careers are over opting out. Like Coach Rhule said this today, Ty's going to play, Bear's going to play. So, yeah, we've got guys who've jumped in the portal, but remember those 30 seniors, Giff? There's a lot of guys. On offense, you'd be talking about Ben Scott and Bryce Benhart. I've not heard any of them say they're not going to play. So you're going to have a good chunk of your ones that'll be there. Yeah, your depth will be tested a little bit, but now you're going to probably see some guys play that were redshirting this year, like Rodney Van Poppel. I know will definitely play in the bowl game now that we're into postseason play. So, Corn, I think Nebraska will be in better shape than practically anybody they're going to play in a bowl game. And again, all that gets solidified on Sunday. A lot of signs pointing to New York and the Pinstripe Bowl for that. All right, quick hour. We're going to take a final break, come back and wrap up tonight's show next.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
You expect your home to protect everything you love. But you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Chris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Folks, here's what's on tap, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Husker volleyball starts NCAA tournament action Friday night at home, 7 o'clock first serve with Florida A&M. We go on the air on the network at 6 with John Bader and Lauren Cook-West. Conference basketball play begins Saturday for Fred Hoiberg's team. They're at Michigan State, 11 a.m. tip, so late morning tip, 10 o'clock for Kent and Jake on pregame coverage. And the women, as you heard earlier tonight in Amy Williams' first show of the season, they have conference play at home with Minnesota on Sunday, 1 o'clock at PBA, 12:30 for tip with Matt Coody and Jeff Greesh. Again, that is what is on tap, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Husker volleyball cleaned up on the All Big Ten awards earlier today. 5 members of that. It was pretty much a clean sweep. You got Lexi Rodriguez named the Libero of the Year, Bergen Riley the Setter of the Year. And it should. I mean, Nebraska was so dominant in the league. I know they ended up co-sharing the league title with Penn State, both going 19-1. That is incredibly hard to do. So kudos to Penn State with their victory over Nebraska last Friday. It got them a share of the title, but that's back-to-back years Nebraska's won the Big Ten title in volleyball. The tournament actually starts tomorrow. Handful of regionals begin tomorrow, but Nebraska's does not start until Friday. So you'll have Thursday, Friday regionals, and then Friday, Saturday regionals. And if the Huskers win, they're going to win. They will play at 7 o'clock again on Saturday night against the winner of Miami against South Dakota State. Should be a terrific matchup between the Canes and the Jackrabbits for that one coming up on Friday night. So they play at 4:30. If you got tickets for the Husker game, get out there and watch that South Dakota State-Miami match. It's going to be a good matchup, I think, on Friday before the Huskers take the floor against the Rattlers of Florida A&M. But I cannot believe conference basketball games getting going. There's 3 of them in the Big Ten on the men's side tonight. And boy, Ohio State was miserable the first half in Maryland. It made it a little bit more respectable in the second half. Well, my thanks to Duke and to Henry and to all of you for listening. We got a full show coming your way tomorrow night. Have yourself a great night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop